William, congratulations on the film. Very personal project for you, based very much on your own story. Why did you decide to firstly turn it into a play and then into a film?
Well, if you're a writer, you work with what you've got. And this was a major part of my life. I didn't turn it into a play for many, many years after it happened. So there was a big gap. And my parents were still alive at the time. And I did ask their permission, and I did send them both the scripts. And they both said they were fine with it, but that it was so boring, nobody would bother with it. So I said, okay, fine, I'll go ahead.
So you just love your parents.
I know. But I think I felt at the time, and I feel today, and I feel with the film, that I learned a lot through this. I've processed it a lot. And to be honest, I've got something to give. I've got something to say that connects with an awful lot of other people. Every relationship is different. Everything is very specific and itself, but there are underlying truths. And when I look at what happened between my parents, I want to say, like to my children who are growing up now, when you get into an important relationship, start out being the person that you really are. Don't fake it. Don't pretend. Like my father made out he was more at ease than he really was with my mother. He went on, to use the metaphor of the film, bringing her cups of tea, and that's not good if what you're really wanting to say is, this isn't me, this isn't my life, this isn't how I want to be. And 30 years later, when you go, you're going to destroy a life. So start out being who you really are. If you can, be as truthful and honest as possible. And I wanted to in a way, that's almost the major message of the whole thing. And I think people still, they wishfully believe that their partner is what they think they are. They blind themselves to the evidence that it's otherwise. And you don't need to, because if you say, this is who I really am, I'm somebody who wants to have a room that's not like this room, then people can change. Give your partner a chance. Give them a chance to say, oh, if that's what you want, maybe we can accommodate this, and then maybe we don't have to bust up in 30 years' time.
So we know you best as a writer, but of course you've directed this one as well. And actually you haven't directed for quite a long time. So why did you want to go behind the camera for this one? Was it the very fact that it was such a personal story?
Yes. I mean, it's sort of almost like the other way around. I decided I wanted to direct again. The first time round, I loved doing it, and I'm very proud of the film, but I had a really rough ride with the film afterwards in the post-production phase when it was being tested and recut. It was under Harvey Weinstein, and he, kept on having it recut and so on, and it was all miserable, and it broke my desire to go on being a director. But years go by, and it's quite frustrating if you're a screenwriter, because you have a very strong sense of what should be done, and that's not always what happens. So I thought, I want to go back to being a director. What can I do? So I thought, better be small, better be manageable for my limited skills, and it better be something that only I really know about. And there it was, sitting, waiting for me. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to my childhood home of Seaford. I'm going to make the location part of the story, and I'm going to make a small but perfect film about something I really know about.
You mentioned the location there. I wondered what other changes you made to the original play. I mean, did you have to change the dialogue at all, for example, or expand certain characters?
There's lots of changes, lots of changes. I've not just the location, but also, I mean, the whole ending is different. And the boy's character is much more developed. There are core scenes that are very similar to the play, but it's very developed. And that's another lovely thing, to be able to go back on your own work and make it better.
And you've got a wonderful cast for this one, in all three major roles. Annette Bening particularly is terrific. I wondered why you chose her and what she brought to the role that perhaps you wouldn't have been able to find in a British actress.
Well, it's not that I couldn't find it in a British actress could do that as well. But if you think about it, when you're setting up a film, you have to have at least one actor who's got name recognition. Otherwise, you don't get any money to make it. So that limits the field a lot. Then I wanted, obviously the age range limits the field. Then I wanted somebody who had a little bit the physical characteristics that I remember from my mother, who was slight and dark-haired and sort of funny and intense. And so that various other actors, you think, no, they're not going to fit for that. And after a bit, you find you're looking at one person and you think, oh my God, if she says no, I've got no project. And she's American, you know, can she do the English accent? Is she going to be convincing in that way? But she's done English before, actually, and very, very successfully. So I knew she could. And actors nowadays, I mean, look at all our British actors going over to America and being Americans, and nobody knows they're British. So I thought, I'm not going to worry about that. Let's have a bit of reverse trade there. So my problem wasn't who to get to do the part. It was, will she do it? And, you know, to my eternal joy, she did in the end say yes.
And essentially, it's quite a sad story, but it's not without humour. You've got Grace's much sharper humour. You've got Edward's very sort of understated humour. I wondered why you felt it was important to have that in the film as well.
Well, that's sort of, it's how I write, but it's also how life is. You know, at the most important moment, you slip on a banana skin. And I wanted... The humour also allows the character not to be a victim. So there's the character of Grace, played by Annette Bening, and she's in a sense the one who's been left and the one who's unhappy. But to have her decide she's going to get a dog and call the dog by the name of her errant husband and then teach the dog to stay, I just think that's marvellous.
And she actually talks to Edward like a dog as well at one point.
Exactly. Sit.
Yes.
I mean, you know, you build these jokes in, and they're very, very important because you can't always be on one note, you know, of pain and anguish. And although it is a painful film, I mean, I don't know whether you found this, but it's a film about survival. Everybody actually survives. And there's a key moment after the Annette character has tracked her husband down to the place where he's living with his new partner, which to her horror is not at all the kind of place she has created.
It's very vague, isn't it?
So well, she says, Edward, it's so dull. You're expecting her to say, Edward, I'm going to stick a knife in you. But she says, Edward, it's so dull. But when she walks out after that and he follows her and he says, can't we just be friends? And she does it beautifully. She thinks about it. She says, I don't think so. And you think, yes, she's emerging, you know, sod him. And so I do want to suggest that this is a woman who has developed beyond the pain.
So having directed for the first time in, it's a good 20 years, it's got to be.
It is 20 years, yeah.
Do you think you're going to do it again, or is writing really your heart's desire, as it were?
I want to direct again. Very much so. I've just got to find and write the ideal project, and I've then got to raise the money for it. So it may never happen, but yeah, I'm working on that.
So you wouldn't direct somebody else's script then? It would have to be yours?
Yeah, there are better directors than me who can direct other people's scripts. But I know if I'm directing my script, then in one sense, I'm the best person to do that. I mean, I've worked with some directors who are so brilliant, and when I watch them at work, I know I could never be that good as they particularly with very active shooting. You know, I'm a much more contemplative person. But no, I will write for myself. I think being a writer-director is, in the end, it's the most perfect creative position to be in. It really is. I absolutely love it.
Well, I hope you come up with a script soon and get to direct again soon. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.